when you're using energy from the battery. So during this program, we want you to be in both. And when you're doing the 12-hour rule, that fast, and you're doing that morning walk, you're going to be in ketosis. You're going to be using energy, your stored fat for energy. And then, after a workout, if you ever, if you got the advanced programs where we teach, more intense workout programs, that's when you would want to be using, carbs for fuel. When you start doing very intense workouts, or when you start doing like Jason does, like MMA workouts where he's training for a fight, that's when you would want to switch to the carbs, because you're going to be using glycogen for energy, which is allows you to move a lot quicker, and it's good for things like sprints or just very high intense workouts. So we want to turn you into a hybrid. You don't have to choose one or the other. You're going to be able to run on both. When you're sipping on let's say you're sipping like I am right now on the bulletproof coffee, where this is pretty much pure fat. Right now I'm going to enter a state of ketosis where I'm using fat for energy and fat for fuel, and I'm not going to be using sugars, because I'm not exercising. I'm just sitting here talking, so I don't really need any simple sugars right now to function.
So the biggest thing, like we're always preaching, is that you want to try to stay as far away from processed food as possible. The processed foods are going to have a lot of the simple sugars, the white sugar, and a big thing is just being conscious. Glancing at that ingredients label, and when you're looking at your foods and you see the first ingredient is sugar, a simple sugar, you really want to stay away from it.
Especially high fructose corn syrup, right?
Exactly. High fructose corn syrup is horrible. All you're gonna get is an immediate spike, followed by 5 minutes later a crazy downer, and you're never gonna feel great. You're never gonna feel consistently strong energy throughout the day. So these little tips are gonna make the world of difference. Just switching white bread to wheat bread, and your white pasta to whole wheat pasta.
And one of the reasons why wheat bread and wheat pasta are lower on the glycemic index, and they don't spike your blood sugar so much, is because they have fiber. Maybe you've heard about fiber, heard that fiber is healthy, but the reason why fiber is healthy is because it literally makes everything digest slower. So even if you have sugar with fiber, it's going to digest a lot slower. Fiber kind of slows everything down and doesn't allow your blood sugar to spike so quickly, so your body doesn't release that insulin, which is, again, insulin is that hormone that transfers fat to your fat cells and stores it there. So really uptaking the amount of fiber that you consume every day is going to allow you to digest everything slower and not spike your insulin and store less fat.
And speaking of fiber, one of the best sources to get your good carbs from are fruit and veggies. And fruit and veggies have a lot of awesome, really good fiber in them. And on top of that, if you're a big juice drinker, you want to try to replace your juice with our fruits. So if, 1 glass of orange juice, a 12-ounce glass of orange juice, has about twice as much sugar than a regular orange, and the orange has so much more fiber in it. So you're getting the best of both worlds from just eating that orange compared to a glass of orange juice. And these days, the orange juice they give us is usually full of regular white sugar. So also on top of the little things we gave you, like the whole wheat pasta and what do you say, the quinoa. Yeah, you want to replace your carbs with fruit, and veggies are a really good source as well.
All right, so in this brief video about carbohydrates, obviously we can go into super details about carbohydrates, and there's actually all these scientific names for it. You can learn the molecular structure of the different monosaccharides and saccharides, and all these like super fancy names that you got to be a scientist and memorize, and you don't have to know any of that to get ripped. Really, what we want you to know is that when you eat carbs that quickly get turned into sugar, your insulin gets spiked, and insulin is what literally takes all the calories you ate and stores them in your fat lipids, your fat cells. And that's why people get bellies and people get fat, because of when insulin is spiked. So we want to reduce all the foods that spike insulin as much as possible, and we want to be a hybrid. We want to use ketones, and we want to also use simple sugars, especially if you're going to be doing intense exercises. But for the most part, if your main goal is to burn fat as fast as possible, you want to be in ketosis by following the 12-hour rule and doing that morning walk that we already talked about before. Here's a little preview. There's a concept coming up inside the program that's all about drinks, and really one of the biggest ways that people mess up is on drinks. They drink so much sugar, whether it's from things like orange juice or even smoothies. I told a story about my friend who would have a fruit smoothie before he went on hikes and did exercise, where he was just trying to burn fat. and he would just use all the sugar from the smoothie for energy instead of his stored fat. So one of the biggest ways people mess up is by using sugar for energy, and they get most of their sugar from all these sugary drinks, whether it's Coke, orange juice, or even fruit smoothies. And we're gonna have an entire video on what our favorite drinks are that still taste delicious, and they're not gonna give us a bunch of extra calories that spike our sugar.
Exactly. How to prepare these drinks, how to look for the proper drinks, when you're shopping, and all the little tips on just like, killing that little game changer of a drink that makes it so you get fatter while you're drinking it, and you cut all that stuff out, see a huge difference.
Yeah, and also about alcohol. We're not here to tell you to never drink alcohol again. Everything, one of the biggest concepts in this program is that everything's a spectrum, right? And even if you are going to drink alcohol, whenever you do, we don't recommend it, especially if you're trying to burn fat. Alcohol is really horrible. It lowers your testosterone. Does a million of bad things for you, dehydrates you. It's horrible for you. But if you are going to do it, you can make better decisions that are not going to mess you up. Hey, we'll show you how to
drink.
We'll show you how to drink in a way that's not going to completely stall and sabotage you. Alright, so that's it for this basic concept. There'll be another worksheet beneath this video which will give you a summary, exactly what to follow, the key points, so you really use carbs for fuel and you use fats for fuel as well. You become that hybrid and you stay away from those foods that spike your insulin. Alright, have an awesome day and we'll see you in the next video.
Hey, real quick, one more thing before you go. I want to make sure you know that there is no correlation between how hard you work and how much fat you melt or how much muscle you build. Alright, there's enough science, enough data out there that there's absolutely no correlation between hard work and results. Alright, there's a difference between movement and achievement. Alright, if you want to learn my best tips, what I call the 5% hacks that allow you to get maximum results, maximum fat loss, maximum lean muscle gain, I want you to go to the link that's on the bottom of this page, or you can click on the link in the description. Alright, you're going to get a complete system for melting fat in an intelligent and streamlined system. I'll see you there.